Hello, this is Jeff Daly with Veterans Intel. Today is a very special episode. It's an anniversary of sorts, and we're going to get right to that after the intro.
This is your daily dose of Veterans Intel. This is all about the military and veterans community. Hey, we're talking about news you could use. Tune in, you're not going to want to miss this. I'm not doing this for ego. I have plenty of ego. I'm doing this to help people live their best veteran life.
Okay, so today is a special day, and it's not just because I'm wearing this cool Veterans Intel hat that I will have available for people to purchase in the very near future. Today is March 21st. And March 21st, 2 years ago, I had a stroke. So this is the second Stroke-aversary, the second survival day of my stroke. And I'm so excited to speak and walk and do all of the things that I could do before based on the VA healthcare. A lot of people complain about the VA healthcare. It really worked for me. But what worked for me more were people in my life. And even more specifically, the women in my life. I credit the fact that I am here with a life, and definitely with this quality of life. And I am lucky to have these women who stood up in March 2022 and helped me on this journey back to Jeff. So if you haven't been around the last 2 years, you might not know the story. The story was, I was working on my computer and things on the screen just weren't happening the way I was typing. What I thought I was typing was not happening. And I thought to myself, I have been working too hard, and man being a man and a man living alone, I said to myself, I am just gonna nap this off. So I laid down for a few moments, and then the phone rang. And the phone rang, and it was the first woman in this experience that helped me through this. She called me to talk to me about doing a gig somewhere. This is from American Legion person, and she heard my voice, and I think she thought I was drunk, even though it was 10 a.m. And she figured out within a few seconds that something was wrong, and she said, "Jeff, you need to get to the hospital right now." And she made me say who I was gonna call, and it was a mutual friend of ours also in the Legion, and this is a Legionnaire. And so I called my friend who was hiking, and she literally ran down from the mountain to fetch me. And of course, my other friend at Legion National Headquarters called her to make sure that I did what I was supposed to do. So we have two women that have helped me so far. I was rushed to the hospital. Things are happening. The woman who rushed down from the mountain to help me, she was there. She kept an eye on things and could tell, because I don't like a lot of people touching me. I don't like needles, and they're poking me and they're not saying anything. They're just working, and I get it. They're working because this is an emergency situation. Still didn't help my anxiety level. So at one point, my friend said, if you could just, say what you're doing while you're doing it, maybe that would help him relax a little bit. Because at one point, I took my good hand and I reached up and I grabbed the coat, but I couldn't say what I wanted to say. So I think that may have been the trigger, that something was wrong. Then this neurologist came in. The neurologist was, you bet, a woman. And with all this chaos going down, she stopped me and she said, "Hey, are you okay?" And in that moment, I knew that I was definitely not okay. And I started crying. And because this is something that I wasn't used to, I'd never been in the hospital. I'd never taken a drug, illegal or prescription. I don't even typically keep Tylenol in the house. If you have a headache at my house, you're out of luck. You better meditate or moan it away. Do something, because I don't have any pain relievers. And she just stopped doing the technical medicine and did did the human thing and asked if I was okay. And only in that moment did I let my guard down for a second, and every feeling came out. So that's just another woman that helped me. So when I got to the rehab floor, the physical rehab floor, my main nurse, a woman who is still my friend to this day, we're Instagram friends, and she, through my time there, would laugh at me, get frustrated with me. She said one day, "You are so non-compliant." I don't know why she said that, because I told her that even though I was wearing a fall risk wristband and I wasn't supposed to do a lot, I told her that I didn't know how, but I knew that I could do jumping jacks when locked alone in the bathroom by myself. She put her head in her hand and was like, "You are so non-compliant." But that non-compliance, I believe, is what got me through. Now, while I was there, I had visitors, most of which were women. From the woman from Michigan who brought me this t-shirt and a plethora of other things, including socks and underwear, but it's not weird at all. To the woman from my post who brought me the Michigan socks I'm wearing that you can't see below. To my friend, a chaplain in the American Legion, who brought not just herself, but she brought activities that were testing and working my dexterity, because she was there with a purpose, and it was not just to bring the joy of her presence, but she honestly wanted to help in the journey towards healing. And that was amazing. I met a friend in there, the only other person I think who was younger than the Vietnam era. There were two of us on that floor, and this woman became my friend in there, and I thank her for that. And I mean, it just continued. There are so many women who are part of my history in this chapter. So when I think of Women's History Month, I think of not just the people who have done highly publicized things that we all revere them for, but I think of those who have had an impact on this chapter in my history. Because there's so many wonderful things. I mean, I could go on. There's the woman that came with another friend of mine, and they brought me hot sauces so that I could fathom eating hospital food. Then, of course, there's my mom, who was calling the floor, wanting to talk to everybody. She even called the department commander of the California Legion. So, I mean, from the most familiar people to people that I've known just a few years, the support was endless, and most of it overwhelmingly came from women. So when I think of women's history, when I think of women's contributions in the world, I imagine what I went through in my experience, and I multiply that on a global level through the decades, through all of humankind. And I know that those contributions are underappreciated, because I wouldn't be here. I might be here, but I wouldn't be here, because my verbal skills were not happening. And I'll also tell you this, not just the neurologist, my speech pathologist, woman. My occupational therapist, woman. My physical therapist, woman. Everybody that I dealt with, other than the residents, I think I had 4 regular residents, only one of them was a woman. But the care, and it's not just because they were women, the care at the VA is not the nightmare that people want you to think that it is. The care at the VA, they take care of everything. Now, I did have some frustrations with one woman, and she was the attending physician. Now, she probably had best interests in mind, but I decided that it was time for me to leave, and I was told that the attending physician had said that that would be against medical advice, or AMA. And I said, "Well, who said this?" And they said, "The attending physician." And I said, "You mean that name at the top of that board who's never met me? I think we need to have a meeting with her And we did. We sat down and we discussed some things, and I asked very plainly, why? Why AMA? And more importantly, what are the consequences? Is this that thing in 3rd grade they called my permanent record that I've never heard of since? Is this something that's going to be so detrimental that no one will ever want to be my friend or hire me? Is this anything? And she said, well, because this is the VA, you'll still get all your outpatient therapies. You'll still get the equipment that they give you. And you'll still get your prescriptions. You'll get everything, except we won't give you a ride home. And I said, ma'am, I've gotten in trouble multiple times for having too many visitors. I believe that I will be fine finding a ride home. And there we have it. And then by the end of it, she had changed her mind because I wasn't leaving for a few days. She had changed her mind, and one of the residents said that the attending had said that she was removing the AMA. So I do not have a permanent record problem anymore. So that is my quick story on the Stroke-aversary. The takeaway should be this. Number one, there are women contributing to people in everyday life, and they are doing magnificent things, and they are saving lives and changing lives. And we should honor that, and we should celebrate that. Number two, veterans out there, the VA can be amazing. It's an amazing resource. You don't have to worry about some of the things that you do in private hospitals, but you do have to advocate for yourself. You have to. The final thing is that no matter what happens to you in this life, you can find a way to make it better. You can find a way to overcome, or at least if you cannot overcome, if the situation you find yourself in is more permanent, you can find a way to adapt, improvise, overcome, and I hope that you do. I hope that you have that community around you that will give you that support. They could be women, they could be men, they could be fill in the blank. I don't know their pronouns. It doesn't matter. If they are there to support you, they are heroes in your life history. Never forget that. And have an amazing day. I have some special surprises coming up. Please be sure to like, subscribe, follow, share, leave comments. Let's have some conversation and not just have me talking for 10 minutes and then going away. Thank you so much for your time, and thank you for spending my Stroke-aversary with me. I wouldn't have it any other way, and I'm glad you're here. This briefing is closed.